Next we have, I lost the card, the Flash, who's 88 points. Honestly, has no ability to break invulnerability, has the cool power to run along and attack 3 different people, but you lower and lock his damage to 1, which is kind of cool, you know, harassing support pieces. But for 12 more points, the one in the Fast Forces gets 2 damage perplex, which is even better than just giving him 3 damage. He gets, well, I think the same movement, hypersonic speed, and also gets a 50-50 dodge chance.
Yeah, which is amazing. I mean, we've seen that before on Spider-Man, and it was fantastic.
It's good. I mean, I like that they're reusing it. I would have wished to seen it actually even earlier. Yeah. But not much to honestly say about him. The one of the Fast Forces is better. Like for 12 more points, I think at that point you'll, again, just like the Hawkeye Green Lantern or Green Arrow thing, you'll go, for 12 more points, and then if you absolutely can't fit that 100 points, I don't think, unless you're really concerned about a theme and you really want Flash there, I just don't think you'll play Flash at that point. The model's beautiful looking.
Definitely.
Besides that, don't want to go too much more into it because there's not too much to say, in my opinion.
Onto the other one of my favorite pieces out of this, and you'll see that I'm always a big fan of support pieces and what they can do. So John Constantine.
John Constantine, very cool model, just right off the model, plus very powerful. For 59 points, you get into Mystics piece. Boom, right here, that's good. Again, suffers the same problem as Enchantress, except doesn't even have as many defenses to kind of help him out. Only has 4 clicks of life, so if your opponent's smart, they're going to play around it and knock him right out.
Oh, yeah.
Again, you're on the winning side of that. It's only 59 points, they took a damage, that kind of stuff. He's pushable because he changes as he pushes, but otherwise he has willpower. So I'll just get right into it. Willpower, so it's nice because you can push him, not take the damage, or take the damage if you want. Good for positioning. He is a wild card. So not only are you Mystics, you can take another power. So it's nice because usually when I play a wild card, I take Mystics as is. So it's nice to have a Mystics and not be bogged down by taking Mystics again.
Yeah, you can take, the Batman team ability. So
yeah,
he's got that extra protection,
stuff like that. But a lot of the time I do find it gets soaked up on Mystics, and sometimes it doesn't. But very cool. I love it. First power he gets. Other characters can't use probability control. It could hurt you in the long run because he's the only one who can use probability control. Even your other models can't.
Well, if that's something to be aware of in army construction, though. If you do have somebody else that you're putting in there, you have to be aware of that. But if he's the only one with probability you're putting in there, fantastic. Shut off your opponent's probability control.
You can easily build around it.
Yeah.
And he also has probability control on that click. Yeah. And now he switches back and forth as he. You take a damage. He loses the power that other characters can't use, probability control, but gains Outwit and Perplex. Two of my other favorite support pieces. Takes a damage, goes back to the you can't use Perplex and you can't use Prob, I have Prob, and then on his last click goes back to the Outwit and Perplex and has a click of regen. So if they don't play around you and knock him right out with one punch, you have a chance to heal back up.
I think he's a super useful character because you can do things like have your attacker go in, hit, you missed the roll there, probability control, alright, stuck that one, move him in, push to move him in, then you perplex up your guy's defense and you outwit your opponent's offensive ability.
Or even outwit so they don't get you back.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, really solid. For
59 points, there's a lot you can do with him. Yeah. And yeah, again, Justice League and Mystical, another cheap Mystical piece to team up with Thanos, or I believe Darkseid has it, to help you maybe even keep in VP.
In addition to the really nice sculpt.
Yeah, another really nice sculpt. Here's my probably favorite sculpt of the set is Deathstroke. He's standing on a pile of bones and stuff. He's got a little bit of smoke in the background. I think the model can use a little bit of smoke, but they needed to get the clear plastic in there, so good job. Very cool dynamic pose. He's doing some of this, and he's got 2 really cool swords, basically like a big spike. Yeah. And I think he's a really good model for 120 points. You're getting an indomitable piece. He's a martial artist, so while a lot of those awesome cheap martial artists are out of the environment, he's a good addition to a martial artist team. He has 7 range. He's a stealth piece without wit, and he can use Blades plus Fangs. After any action resolves, if during that action an opposing character moved into a square adjacent to Deathstroke, roll a d6 and deal that character damage equal to the result. How huge is that? Superman runs in, gets in your grill, because he has to, Flash, Superman, anyone. They run in and hit you, and then run away. Now, they have Impervious. All you need to do, roll a 3, and then they take 1 damage. Yeah. Well, all of a sudden, that 150-point Superman doesn't have hypersonic anymore. He's now a running shot piece. That's huge. Very cool power, and definitely good against those mobile pieces. So he has those built-in defenses, the stealth with the precisely timed strike and that kind of stuff. And then
the other great thing is you said he had, did you say you outwit?
Outwit?
Yeah, outwit with the stealth. You can outwit somebody else's outwit without the repercussion of them being able to come back at you. They can't target you and outwit your outwit because you have the stealth. So
and any model, sorry to cut you off, any model that has no movement, has no ability to see through stealth, is at an immediate disadvantage, having to come to you. Moved into a square adjacent. All right, so you can't move into them and then get them. They have to come to you. But you have stealth and can shoot. That's a total possibility.
Make them come to you, which is fantastic.
Very pushable, again, because when you push him, he jumps up to, well, he has 11 attack opening. He keeps the 11 attack, loses the outwit though, loses the stealth, gains running shot and penetrating psychic blast. So if for whatever reason you do need to really go on the offensive, push him, he starts running up and shooting, stays like that for 2-3 clicks. On that click 4, he gets penetrating and outwit, which is cool. Drops down to the 2 damage. Then he gains the precise attack again, and then gets 2 damage exploits. Now we're looking at Blades exploit. And then on the last clicks, he flip-flops between Blades flurry and Blades exploit. And has 8 clicks of life too, so again, a deep dial. Always has toughness. It's one of my least favorite. Here's my thing about toughness. I don't think it does enough, unfortunately. It's just kind of At the same time, your opponent generally will not outwit toughness because it's not worth it. So you generally get to use it, I find. They'll usually outwit something a little bit more valuable. They'll hit you and then outwit something, maybe an offensive power. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. While it's not a great defensive power, it's also
not a great defensive power.
Yeah,
they're not going to bother wasting a wit on it.
They don't really, avoid it. They don't try to avoid it. And last is Fury. So the 2 Firestorms turn into Fury. Fury split off into 2 Firestorms. He is a 200-point quintessence piece. I always like those pieces. 200 points. It's good if
room for gauntlet,
or some support, whatever you need. Justice League keyword, so easy to theme with. Has the power to use Pulse Wave and Poison on his first click, and he also has Range Combat Expert. So you can either shoot a character that isn't really good defensively for a lot, or if you're surrounded by shape change, impervious pieces or stealth pieces, you can Pulse Wave them out, or you can get nice and close and wait for to set up the Pulse Wave. Also, you can poison them if that's something you can do. He's got 18 defense with Impervious, so he's decent defensively. He's a good brick that has nice ways of breaking people's defenses down. Otherwise, very front loaded. At last 2, he only has 8 clicks of life, so it's not a super deep dial for a 200-point piece. But he's a quintessence that costs a lot. That kind of stuff. Last 2 clicks are regeneration. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He has the chance to regen to actually some pretty good clicks. He has a really cool defensive power called Absorb Energy. He can use Invulnerability. If Fury possesses this power after an action resolves in which he took damage from a ranged combat attack, heal him of 1 damage. So if your opponent's trying to shoot at him, he has 2 clicks of impervious. So unless they're like, you know, penetrating you and doing a fair bit of damage, or they can't outwit you, they have to do 5 damage. Otherwise, you know, they'll do 4, you reduce it down to 2, and then you'll heal back up to basically the exact same click as the first one and still be on impervious. So that's a nice added defense on these characters that usually would get swarmed up on.
Yeah.
He is a giant, which I actually think is kind of it's actually a strike against him, because it allows you to draw line of fires to him. He can't hide in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I usually am not a big fan of giants, but
again, he looks nice.
Nice looking model.
Yeah.
I bought one brick. I pulled doubles of Firestorm, the 95.1, Mind Warp, Hawkeye, Superman, and Aquaman. They're not, you know, so I only got really five doubles. It would have been nice to get all the commons and uncommons, well, all the uncommons. I'm only missing the strange guy. I can't remember his name right now. He's got 2 dials. He's actually pretty good. But whatever, easy to trade for. And I'm only missing Lady Xanadu. So that was pretty cool, you know. I spent about $65. And then, you know, pretty much got the whole set. Yeah. So if you're looking as a new player, this is a great set to do it. Good looking models, definitely. Really powerful stuff. You buy a brick, it's not too expensive, and you pretty much get everything.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about these gravity feed sets is that you know, with this one, it's a lot of characters that most people know, and so it's really easy to draw in new players with these sets. It's buy a guy. It's by itself. It's pretty cheap. You're not having to invest. You know, and not that packs, regular size packs are terribly expensive, but you know. It's a bit.
It's a nice draw. You have $4, $3 in your pocket, and you just want to buy a model. And even if you pull a character like Mara, who's kind of a B-lister, you know, at least you can say, oh, you know, I had a really old comic, because most people do, that had her in it. I didn't realize she was Aquaman's wife, and you know, even learning new stuff about those B-list characters can really draw in new players, which is pretty cool. Yeah. I do like that. Good looking models are the way to do it. Strong models, so at least what new players can compensate in for, you know, the lack of strategy, at least they have power behind it, you know, backing them up. So I really like this set. I suggest, I call this a buy it. It looks good, good models. I'm sure I'm just reinforcing the same point I made 2 minutes ago, but I digress. Buy it. DC, the new 52, buy it.